So our story continues with Royal Vegito, now in his latest and seemingly
Royal
last form,
Vegito.
having emerged after just absorbing
Make sure I
the
remember
life
that.
force
Royal
and
Vegito.
energy
Gotcha,
of the
gotcha,
royal
gotcha.
guards of Zeno. Floating gracefully in the sky, he would look down, now almost completely taken over by the darkness of Lucif, and say, "The energy from that last angel, GT. Now that was something. I knew it would take a while. Next to die, that has to be the pinnacle of Seraphim energy. With this counteracting angel presence, tapping into Lucif's power should be nothing to fear. Use it wisely, Vegeta."
Damn Saiyan!
As behind Vegito, not oblivious to the truth behind his words, the devil, Lucif himself, in his giant state, would just concede.
Do what you will with my energy. Achieve your goals. But just know, this is far from over.
But equally as pleased as Vegito, the prince, now
I'm honestly
with his
surprised
very
Goku
own
doesn't have
Seraphim
those, like,
eye,
feathers and stuff.
finally, after Vegito had given him some of the Royal Guard's energy, would ecstatically stand with his fist raised, and a smirk letting out, "Oh, don't you worry. I've been waiting for this opportunity for a while now. So this is what that damn angel power I was denied is like, huh? Well, it may not be under the circumstances I wanted, but all that matters is that I'll finally get to show Kakarot up once again."
Okay.
Vegeta. But being left with more concern than enthusiasm like the other two, Goku would just stare on bemused and mutter, "GT. So his Seraphim energy is what they're going to use to keep Lucif in control. But is that really going to be enough? Both of them, they're way stronger than before. They went past me. Again. My student, ripped apart and made unto you god killers as if they were just spare parts. I will avenge you both, Z and S." As looking above, the visible dismay of Dai would become clearer and clearer to all those around him.
I think we're approaching the endgame. I think.
And without cause to hear any more, closing his once gritted teeth mouth, the one true angel would begin vanishing.
Huh?
And perhaps surprisingly, or in a show of utter confidence and lack of fear for the God Killer, Dai would meet in the air, face to face with Vegito and his new form. The two white-haired warriors staring deeply into
Bro, I'm not
one
gonna lie, they both
another's
look
eyes,
crazy. What the?
almost having a battle mentally in another dimension first, before in the physical realm, Vegito would let out, "So, seems you don't respect the power I possess now. Now that I not only have the greatest of demon energies, but the very greatest of angel energies also. Do you really think you'll stand a chance now? Let alone once the other two get involved. Give up, and your death can be swift." To which Dai, his face unflinching, not even a droplet of sweat falling, would just reply, "What is there to fear of my own creations? Every angel you have despicably taken into yourself is made of my energy, my teachings. Everything you know, I knew millennia before, and what came from angels shall ultimately return to them. Just as Lucifer's corrupted angel energy, what you now call demon energy, shall come back to me too. You stand before not another god in your path to vengeance, but the father of all angels, God Killer. And now that we are alone on the battlefield, now there will be no more tricks for you to bring out, and no more places for you to hide. At this very moment, you still remain Vegito. Take your revenge as you are now, as the same mortal that we gods forsaked. For if you truly do give in to Lucifer, you will only feed me what is mine. Do you understand? This statement causing Dai's teeth to grit once more.
Yeah, he looks angry. He looks angry,
believes
bro.
what he says,
Nah, mess with the
or if
Grand
he's
Priest.
just bluffing. Interesting. But regardless, this threat would only serve to amuse Royal Vegito, as all three of his seraphim eyes, almost peering through to Dai's heart, would then just allow him to smirk and reply, "All this time, you have begged and begged for me to not allow Lucifer's takeover. Yet here you are now, threatening me, saying if I do, that it will only benefit you. Yes, you may have taken some of Vegeta's power, but you have to remember,
He is nothing compared to me.
And with their words exchanged, nothing would be left now but to prove what they say, as both well and truly knowing they are in the endgame,
Yep, the
would power
endgame.
up to their utter limits. The chosen vessel of the devil himself, Lucifer, against the younger brother and now most powerful angel in all of Universe 1 to 12. Huh? What? Ooh. And on the instant of their magnificent power-up, the after effects would be no ordinary ones either, as immediately just the light emanated would flash enough to light up the entire realm, leaving Seraphim Goku, Nephilim Vegeta, and Zeno himself all to watch on wide-eyed and in awe, their entire bodies lost in the illustrious light, one by one. And as the flashbang of their immense power-up would fade, the atmosphere and weather itself would all react just as ferociously, causing thunder to crash all around the ground, as intense waves of pressure and wind would blow forward in all directions until... You're kidding! Vegito! This is what you were hiding? Die! You too! Instantly
Yeah, I
causing
thought
both
Vegeta- I
Seraphim
thought- not
Goku
Vegeta.
and Nephilim
I thought
Vegeta
Vegeta was gonna
be
do something, but I
blasted
guess
away
not.
from the Force alone. Both completely taken by surprise as they witnessed the utter difference in their power levels. Having thought previously they were somewhat close, at least to the one true angel. Woo! Die! Keep going! As even the fragile Omni King is now also then thrown away like a paper bag. But without any guards or angels to help him, he is more or less helpless too to the aftermath of the legendary battle taking place. But back with the two titans, Vegito would make his first move, launching a punch point blank. But Dai's all-seeing eyes would allow him to weave just in time. What? But rather than just counterpunch, the angel would opt instead to grab onto the God Killer's blackened arm.
His power again?
But in that
just
instant,
like what he did with Vegeta
would realize what this was, as he would then think, This is how he absorbed Vegeta before! Get real! I'm not as stupid as those two clowns! As suddenly, the pointed long hair of Vegito can unbelievably curve and sharpen and shoot straight forward to die. But as the katana-sharp strands of hair would pierce their objective, at the very moment of impact, the one true angel would escape. Intriguing move! Straight out of Lucifer's playbook, demon! Leaving the God Killer with his hair flushed over his face, leaving only one eye with vision, as the Grand Priest would appear directly behind, with his hand mysteriously placed in spear position. Divine Cannon! As with one sudden and breakneck blast from behind, the angel would launch a powerful beam that blasts directly through the Demon Saiyan's chest, smashing through as if the Saiyan were as malleable as butter, and suffice to say, leaving Vegito stunned momentarily. Aiming for my heart again, are you? Causing the demonic Saiyan to stare down now at the gaping hole in his chest. As still behind him, and now admiring his work, Dai would just laugh. I'm long past defeating you that way. Forget Zeno's game. These dragons within us. Just hearing and seeing you scream in pain is enough cause for me. Especially as you begin to use more of Lucifer's techniques so brazenly. Consider this brotherly bonding. I was merely making a place for me in your heart. Brotherly bonding? Sure, I can make that happen. But Vegito, on hearing this, would curiously then suddenly let off a devious smirk, turning his head back as his teeth bare. What is this despicable creature talking about now? This change in mannerism from agony, however, would just annoy the priest, as he would be left cautious over what those words would mean from the God Killer. If brotherly love is what you want, then come here, brother! As without warning, Vegito himself would then begin to grab the one true angel by his shoulders, paralyzing the priest there and then as he would grip tightly, sinking his sharp fanged fingers in, and his body seemingly beginning to shake until... Come closer! Let's spend some real time together! Die! What are you?
Bro, what is happening?
Instantly, Vegito's entire body would begin to deform violently, his arms enlarging in an instant, gripping tightly around Dai's neck. Before... There we go! As if trapping the Grand Priest in a giant sack, Vegito would completely cover the entire body of Dai in a stretchy substance, reminiscent of Boo, but now completely black in color, as if a far more powerful Lucifer strengthened variant. But though the angel would look completely succumbed, the lone demon red seraphim eye he would possess would manage to push back a hole within the black sludge, instantly creating a brief chink in the armor until... With that one weak link, Vegito would notice the existence of a shining light and energy beginning to push
Well, is it gonna be another
ever so
smite?
And with a ferocious roar of triumph, Dai would ultimately explode completely from the entrapment.
Oh, that must just be like an
of his
explosive
divine
wave.
energy expansion alone, blowing Vegito up to shreds in the
Oh,
process.
is that Vegito right there? Whoa.
Disgusting creature! My eye! And as Dai would eventually emerge unscathed, he would reflect on the danger he was just put in, while mysteriously leaving his right red demon eye closed, as if it were in pain. Vegito, meanwhile, though, would be left as nothing but pieces of black muck, splashing onto the floor. But as you would expect, this would only be short-lived, and would be far from the end for the God Killer, as not even moments later, the individual bits of black sludge would then tremble and fly up quickly to combine in the sky. Vegito! Did you die? All the while, both Goku and Vegeta would just stare in near silence, both shocked by something they see, and it seems to be with respect to both Vegito and the priest. But what it would be...
Yeah, wait, what is it?
No.
Well, let me see.
But as the signature laugh of Ultra Vegito would be heard once more, his reformation back into one piece would be complete, as looking into his hands, he would begin ominously saying, Well, that was a good little experiment. Seems Lucifer has some similar abilities to Boo after all. And your divine energy you bragged about doesn't seem to burn him away. I guess you weren't lying about him being a fallen angel. But I think the real result here is me getting back the energy that is mine. Thanks for that, Dai. You can open your eye.
Oh, wait, what?
As suddenly,
Wait,
when Dai
what?
would finally open his right eye,
Yeah,
just
he was
as
talking about getting his
Vegito
energy
had
back.
asked,
Oh,
we would
huh?
all see it no longer would be red. With whatever demon energy had been absorbed from Vegeta, now having gone straight back into the God Killer. And Dai himself, even without a mirror, would instantly detect the missing energy he so craved be gone also. How dare you!
Oh my god.
And with a vicious roar, like he was an addict who had just been rejected his fix, Dai would
Rejected his
launch at
fix.
Vegito
Okay.
at that very instant with pure
Oh
fury.
my gosh.
And just like that, their monstrous battle would continue, clashing and exchanging blows all over the sky, as now the thunder itself would begin mimicking their energies, turning black in thunder and destroying the battlefield below. Vegeta, you ready? Let's back him up. Finally leaving Goku, who has now recovered, to quickly look to his fellow Saiyan for assistance, as the prince, looking back, would give a nod and reply, "I'm better than ever, Kakarot! Let's end this nightmare once and for all! Stay where you are!" But yet again,
Bro, how many times you
even
gotta
while
keep saying that,
mid-battle,
bro?
the God Killer would have other plans, as looking back, he would yell at them, "You two are not needed yet. You'll have your time. For now, keep watch over Zeno. These gods can't be trusted. While I'm finishing this, I won't be able to stop that runt from backstabbing us. Don't worry. Die ends with me."
Yeah, die, bro. You okay?
And proving
Oh
his
my
point
gosh.
exactly in a show
Ah,
of
you
complete
alright?
dominance. Vegito would then proceed to strike Dai 3 different times viciously, each time leading to a colossal impact that forces the angel to groan in pain. Eventually being pushed back to the point he
Oh,
has
wow.
some space,
Yeah.
with one eye open and leaking with blood from his mouth, he would finally have time to introspect. No! No! This combination of powers, Lucifer, the Saiyans, the gods, the angels, and even the gods. It's become too much, especially now that he has reabsorbed what I had gained. This cannot end like this. I need that energy back. I need it!
Oh, wow.
And as Dai would think to himself, a silence would
So he
fall
does
on
need
the
his
battle.
brother's energy. Okay, that's
As the
interesting.
God Killer
least he-
would
at least
watch
he
on,
admits it.
amused by the clearly panicked and damaged face of the one true angel, with him eventually then giving off a smirk and giggling. I've seen this look before, on every god and angel, just before I destroyed them. The energy of your elder brother is truly potent, isn't it? Just the mere act of taking it from you and adding it to me has tilted the tables already. You feel helpless, and your energy is weakening by the minute. At this point, I could let those two finish you off themselves. But then, it wouldn't be my revenge. Ugh, you're delusional! Immediately garnering a reaction from Dai, but with his breaths getting deeper and deeper, and his panting increasing, inside he would realize the God Killer is saying the truth, as he would mutter, "Those two being enough? Don't make me laugh. Those two!" But suddenly
Wait.
hearing about the other Saiyans on the battlefield, Dai finally would have a flash of thought, as quickly turning his head
Let me
downwards.
guess, he's gonna try to give
He would
Vegeta's
think,
energy again.
the God Killer isn't the only
yup,
one
see,
to
I just
get
knew it,
energy
bro.
from.
I knew it.
Vegeta! He still has more! Far more! As now looking straight down at the prince, his new target would be set, unbeknownst to everyone else. As naively, both Goku and Vegeta seeing this would just take this as their opportunity to prove Vegito right. As Goku would say, I think you're spot on, Vegito. You've weakened him enough for us to be able to handle this even without you. And by the looks of Dai, he won't let us stand around like you want anyway. While Vegeta would say, no, in fact, he seems to be looking directly at me. Who could blame him? I am the strongest here after all. Come and get it, clown. Huh? What the? But just as Vegeta would confidently call out, firmly with his dies on die in the sky, he'd be forced to turn his head as he soon feels something pull on him. What? And unbelievably from the ground itself, a white hand would emerge.
Did he instantly teleport or something? Like,
this whole scene
what's happening?
being a mystery, leaving barely any time for anyone to react before. What? No, it can't be! Vegeta's whole face would begin to contort upwards as if on a roller coaster, as momentum would build for a downward pull until... Instantly, with a violent and destructive descent, the prince would be forcibly smashed through the ground, lost from the surface instantly, into a bottomless pit where pulling him down would be none other than the priest himself, who with a crazed look would just yell to him, "You told me to come and get it! Don't complain now, mortal! Now, give me it! Give me my brother's energy!" As soon, the reason for Vegeta's targeting is revealed, but just how he managed it will soon bewilder both Goku and Vegito. Vegeta! As Vegito, noticing Vegeta's sudden disappearance, would at first look to die, confused as to what other god
he must have
would be
created
on the
a clone or
battlefield
something, right?
if Dai was right here. A clone!
Oh, okay, see, it was.
But not for long. Before, like an illusion, the priest before him would expunge into a cloud of smoke. No! Vegeta! You didn't die! As now finally realizing what is happening, the God Killer would lose his previous cool immediately. Realizing the shocking move Dai had just now made, and the consequences of it if he succeeds. But ultimately, when we would return to Vegeta, now deep within the dark pit, countless miles beneath the surface, he would be utterly broken, laying flat on his back, having been dragged with such force, near every bone would be broken and every muscle ripped. And what's more,
bones are
slowly
broken.
but surely, the darkness that covers his body,
Yeesh.
the energy provided by Lucifer himself, would begin to fade away, along with his white hair returning to black as the glowing red symbol on his chest would begin to dim and flicker. And eventually, all we would see now is base Vegeta once again. His hair completely black now, and his torso without a trace of Lucif's once domineering power. But this would not seem like a simple power down, but rather something that was stripped directly from him. As shockingly, still gripping his foot would be the white feathered hand of a certain deity, as energy visibly would seep away from the Saiyan directly into his attacker. But with the last of his energy, Vegeta would be able to see what was happening, as the tall figure crouches over him in the darkness, with the Saiyan only muttering, "You!" Now, rest easy, Saiyan. As of course, with a vindictive smile, Dai would be seen staring at Vegeta, watching as he slowly loses consciousness, saying as he does so, "I'm almost done. You truly let out a lot of Lucif's energy, didn't you? It's impressive. You held on without letting him loose for as long as you did. But now, it shall return to its rightful place."
What kind of angel are you? Using a demon's power? Say what you must about your brother once being an angel, but you have no pride taking his power out of fear of fighting him. I should have let him loose when I had the chance.
But in defiance, Vegeta would not go out before questioning the priest, as with his eyes barely open, he would also query,
"Just tell me one thing. That power you displayed up there with Vegito, you could have annihilated me in Kakarot whenever you wanted. Why save it till now?"
Before, with a darkened and extremely cold look, Dai, looking down at his weakened prey, would just reply, "It is not that I didn't, but that I couldn't, young Vegeta. This battle is deeper than what you mortals can perceive, but the God Killer knows what he is doing, and has done from the very beginning. He is the one who spat you out, imparting in you his own demonic energy in tow. He allowed you to battle, ascend, and activate more of Lucif's power. Both you and Son Goku were made to get stronger. I too knew this, but I also understand that just like you said earlier, the God Killer would do anything to have his revenge, regardless of how much he doesn't want to, even if it meant unleashing the devil on the multiverse. You two existing are the only reason he has yet to give himself up completely to Lucif. The only reason Lucif has not escaped and used Vegito as his vessel is because that damn God Killer still believes you two to be his final trump card when you ultimately fuse back. Even
really?
now,
Okay.
he denies you even helping, denies you from fusing with him, all because he knows once he does, the only thing left for his backup, if he cannot defeat me, will be my brother. As the great priest, protector of this realm, I could care less about fighting the God Killer as his mortal form. But I will not allow Lucifer to reappear to destroy everything. So starting with you, I will take back that polluted energy that should have never touched a mortal's hands, sealing it away from the God Killer's grip.
So that's what it was.
Eventually leaving Vegeta almost lost for words in his exhaustion, as he would finally mutter,
That clown! He fears Lucifer's takeover. Doesn't he know? If we fuse, Kakarot and I wouldn't let that happen! Huh?
But just as the last drop of demonic energy would leave Vegeta and enter Dai, the Divine Priest would sense a rumble all around him.
What are you doing with my energy, Dai?
As with a violent roar and a deep voice, what could only be assumed to be Lucifer in the body of Vegito would scream out in anger, grabbing the priest by the hair with force, pulling him instantly off the prince, while the priest, with wide eyes and mouth, would just scream out in terror.
Had a nice chat? You think you know all about me, but the reality is, I just don't need those two clowns to beat a weakling like you!
As Vegito, now tensing his blackened arms, would grip noticeably tighter onto the long white locks of the priest before...
Is he about to rip his hair out?
Get back over here! Vegito!
Viciously, with pure strength, giving Dai a dose of his own karma for what he did to the prince, the God Killer would immediately begin tossing the priest through the ground at rapid speed, smashing through the hardened surface as if it were non-existent. All the while Dai would just appear as a panicked blur, moving at untold speeds back upwards.
Yeah! You think I need anyone, let alone your brother, to beat this level of power? Get real, priest!
And in a nanosecond, Dai would be shot up high into the sky, appearing as a dot from the ground as he would exit the pit like a rocket, his face seemingly full of shock, but curiously,
his tongue is out?
as he would fly uncontrollably, he would just mutter,
Lucifer! Your power!
Eventually reaching the pinnacle of the skyline, losing his momentum as his body
I know he
would
absorbed
just
all
lifelessly
of the
float up
energy and
above.
stuff, so I guess we're about to see what it's gonna do.
Keep muttering about your brother's power. You'll be able to join him within me soon enough.
And quickly changing his expression from a smirk to pure rage, Vegito would shoot intensely into the sky, chasing after the priest like a beast on the loose. Within mere moments, catching up face first with the priest, whose eyes would seemingly still be closed from dealing with the damage, as Vegito would already have his fist clenched, ready to deliver a debilitating blow. But shocking! Just as the God Killer would move to attack the truly vulnerable-looking angel, out of nowhere, his punch would be stopped point-blank from making any form of damage, as holding Vegito's fist with just his palm, Dai would suddenly become coated in a dark red aura. His body seemingly undergoing changes, while his head would be dug down. And for the briefest of moments, the diamond that would be visible on his forehead would flash red.
No! Vegeta's energy! Don't tell me he actually got it all!
Leaving Vegito stunned, as he of all people would know a demon transformation coming up when he sees one.
Die!
As suddenly, Dai, now lifting his head, would reveal his right eye and dual diamond,
I see his right
now
arm.
completely red. His hair now distinctly longer and more untamed, his skin even giving a more pinkish hue, while
Pink?
his right arm turns from white feathers to black. The Grand Priest, the one true angel, has seemingly become corrupted for the greater good, ultimately falling to the same depths as the God Killer to achieve his goal. As looking at Vegito now with a stoic and fearless stare, he would just say, "Power like this can only be wielded correctly by the divine. It is you who is the weakling now, mortal."
You're just like me now! You're no angel!
As now
You're
Vegito,
no angel,
cowering
okay.
subconsciously backwards,
Yeah.
would now begin to detect the uncanny similarities between himself and the priest, including the source of their almighty energy. No! He was so close! Not like this! As Goku too would just stare in fear, now being the only uncorrupted
I mean, we can't
warrior
blame
left
Vegeta,
in the
right? We can't blame Vegeta. I mean,
sea
can't do
of
anything about it. So.
I'm no angel. Don't be ridiculous. My colors may have changed, but you are still dealing with the father of all angel kind. Isn't that right, brother? As shockingly, behind the overwhelmingly powerful Dai, the unmistakable presence of the devil himself would be sensed by all in tune with him.
Lucifer!
Petrifying Vegito, as he now seemingly lost for words, begins to realize, with Lucifer's power now in Dai's possession too, this battle may become one of who will tap into his great but dangerous power first. But meanwhile, Goku would notice the giant pit from before, sensing intensely, commenting, "Vegeta, his energy is fading. He's down there. Before anything, I need to heal him first." And with that, the Saiyan would then jump straight into the pit and land right in front of the still debilitated prince, who would welcome him.
Come to save me again, hey Kakarot?
But back with Dai, with his corrupted changes now made, the angel would look curiously into his black-stained feathered arm, almost peering at the energy of his brother coursing through his veins, as he would comment, "I mastered this technique. The ability to absorb impure energy soon after I selected Light as my successor,
That
as
makes
the
sense.
5th of the 5 strongest. Like you, brother, he harbored a darkness within him, an alter ego known as Dark, that once unleashed would bring great ruin. As a failsafe, just in case he ever managed to somehow overpower me, I concocted this ability to seal away his evil energy within. But to think, years later, it would actually be your energy that I would use it for. This stunning destructive power. This is what drove you mad, isn't it, dear brother? This is what made you think you deserve to be the Omni King.
That power that you kept warning me not to use! And now you're the one using it! Having conversations with yourself and all! I knew you were full of it!
Leaving Vegito to now react in anger, frustrated at all the lies and trickery once again from the gods.
What else did you expect? I told you, my energy is key to victory!
As Lucifer, who also still remains within Vegito, would be quick to remind the God Killer, perhaps manipulate him by yelling,
From the very beginning I told you, if you want your revenge, then make use of my full power! Together, we will get this done! Dai and Zeno will stand no chance! He may possess a fragment of my energy, but his heart lacks the darkness to use it completely! Only you, God Killer, can wield my true power and win! Shut up!
but in a rage and defiantly, not willing to have to succumb to the pressure, Vegito would just opt to blast out a powerful ball of energy straight at the angel instead, hoping to catch him off guard. And as the powerful ball of black lightning-coated energy would rush towards him, the angel would not make a move, his arm still in front of his face, as with a stoic look, it would fail to budge in expression either. Until he would collapse his hand into a tight fist as Dai's red seraphim eye would begin to glow in tandem. Be gone! And as if the demonic
That's
energy
the angelic
had a master,
reverse, right?
it would turn instantly from the corrupted angel. What? Before instead shooting straight back at the God Killer, leaving the stunned countenance of Vegito to just mutter as his face lights up. This can't be possible! Ultimately resulting in the attack exploding harshly back on its owner, leaving now just a dark cloud in its wake as Vegito would eventually be seen, his body now scratched as he would be forced into covering himself with crossed arms. Die! And when his arms would slowly descend,
Am I crazy, or couldn't he have just used
only then
the android
would we
absorption
see the
technique?
extent of the true rage and frustration building in the God Killer, as he watches his only obstacle left to his redemption and revenge grow further and further unreachable, as he would grumble, I will not allow you to win here!
This is my victory! My story! If you're going to use that damn Lucifer's power to surpass me, then I will too! I don't care! All that matters is that you gods die!
That's the way, Saiyan.
As within the God Killer, the devil would begin to smile, sensing now the cards have finally been dealt in his hand. Perhaps just as he had planned all along. But this premature decision and conviction would soon come to a halt, as Vegito, with pure surprise, would suddenly feel the hands of two figures grab onto him.
You two!
And to his surprise, the two figures would be
Here we
revealed
go
to
with the
be
crazy
Seraphim
shading again.
Goku and Seraphim Vegeta. Now having lost all of his demonic energy, as with the two Saiyans smiling and their hands placed on the God Killer's shoulders, Goku would begin. This battle isn't just yours, Vegito. This isn't just your burden to bear. Trust in us and trust in our power. The power we gain together. It's time, my friend. While Vegeta too would then add,
It sure is. And I'm not taking no for an answer this time. If you think I'm walking around with these chicken feathers on my arm, you have another thing coming. Get ready, Vegito. It's time to refuse.
Wow, guys, there you guys have it, bro. I guess it's refusing time. It's finally time to refuse. Hey, that was a good episode, man. A solid 9 out of 10. I mean, to be honest, I think this is the end game, right? I think all these are going to be like 9 out of 10s, right? It's just going to be nothing but action, just good stuff all around the board. I think we are getting close to season 2 here, actually. We are getting close. Yeah, we're getting like super close now, right, at this point. Yeah, I mean, so there you guys have it, bro. It's refusing time. Next episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's just get straight to it.
So our story continues with Goku and Vegeta having placed their hands on Vegito's shoulder in support, having realized the time has finally come for them to reunite, with the God Killer looking to Goku and saying,
Refuse? But if I fail, if we fail, there will be no one left. You understand that, right? You two could escape right now and fight another day.
But Goku, hearing this, would then adamantly reply, escape and fight another day? You really think Vegeta and I would do that? This battle is ours, as much as it is yours, Vegito. That anger you have inside, that rage to get justice for our loved ones, it's the same in us. Don't forget where you came from. Together, we can do this. We can do this without Lucifer. Before, with passion in his voice, Goku would urge the God Killer to finally realize. Don't underestimate how strong we'd be once we're together again. Think of all the training we've done, the years battling within you, the years in the pyramid of power, and how far we've come even here in this final battle. The power I've gained from fighting GT, the things I've learned. I know we can do this. Dai isn't unstoppable, whether he uses Lucifer's power or not. Nothing can stop us. I won't allow it.
And neither will I.
As the prince,
All right, Vegeta,
agreeing on
let's
the
hear
other
it.
side, would sport a smirk as he would explain.
I finally understood from the priest what this was all about. Why you separated us. Why you wouldn't let us refuse. You just wanted to have all the fun of murdering this midget all to yourself. Well, think again. Newsflash. But if you can't beat him, then whether we come back another day or not, we will never win. I understand. Letting us free to take out the guards and the other Kakarot. But now it's over. There is no more excuse. This is all of our fights, clown. And that demon Lucifer is not your path to victory. We are!
As suddenly, Vegeta would power up, revealing an all-new form for him, but one we saw from a certain Destroyer Goku not too long ago. With his Ultra Ego hair, he would now possess a pair of destruction-infused purple seraphim eyes, almost as if ripped straight out of the skull of the Goku from the past. As he would add,
Listen, that brat may have stolen all the demonic energy I had within me. But don't think I didn't learn a thing or two from my experiences too. Always remember, Vegito, these gods can take everything away from us. But there's one thing a Saiyan always keeps.
Yep.
His pride!
behind Vegeta too, a very display of all he has
we all
been
knew.
through
We all
so
knew what he was
far
gonna say, right?
is reminisced as well.
Okay.
You're kidding! When did you learn that?
The Destroyer Seraphim, however, would just leave the God Killer surprised, with him previously thinking the prince was out for the count. But with Vegeta just smirking back at him, the prince would respond,
When? Why does that even matter? You do realize I'm the battle genius here, right? I can learn on the fly. Not just when I'm about to die, like that clown Kakarot. You too.
and with a smirk on his face, it would seem the God Killer would finally concede, saying,
I guess I've been doubting you two a little too much. I should remember how I came to be in the first place. I started this whole journey with you two, and I guess this battle will be won or lost with you two as well.
And for a moment, there would be a deafening silence over the battlefield, as all three Saiyans, Vegito included, would look above, face to face, with their final obstacle. The final all-powerful fighting god left in the multiverse. The Grand Priest. Before finally, with a cold face, Vegito would look straight forward into the priest's eyes and let out,
Fine! There's no going back. We'll do this as one. I hope you're ready, Dai.
But the transformed, corrupted angel in the sky, with his flowing, glorious hair, would seem utterly unfazed, but with a hint of intrigue, as he would say, Oh, I'm ready, God Killer. This is the battle I truly desired this whole time anyway. A battle with the true mortal form of the one they call Vegito. Allow me to witness the power of the warrior race known as the Saiyans. and not the power of Lucifer. Before, with his face becoming more serious, he would add sternly, "Because if you do tap into that forbidden energy again, I will be there to take it. I will repeat, the power of the fallen angel Lucifer, my elder brother, will ultimately return to me. In the interest of keeping this battle somewhat competitive, do not do it." We won't need it, but thanks for your concern. But Goku, hearing this, would just smile, confident in their own power, as he would look to the God Killer and say, "Don't worry, Vegito. Whatever happens, we'll find a way to win this, Lucifer or not."
Okay.
While Vegeta,
Hopefully
smiling,
not.
readying himself, would also look to Vegito and say,
The priest just about survived after taking my energy, and he's talking like this. He doesn't stand a chance against all three of us together. And neither does this so-called Lucifer. Let's do this!
It's time.
and just like
It's finally
that,
time to
with all
refuse,
their
okay.
final conversations as a trio,
it's been a
now
minute.
over,
Been a minute since
Seraphim
they,
Goku,
since they
Destroyer
refused,
Vegeta, and Ultra Vegito would all power up to their limits. Their keys, so powerful and all-encompassing, they would begin mixing with each other. Their voices combining also as their auras become singular and shoot into the heavens themselves. So this is mortal fusion. Leaving Dai with a curious look as he would fold his arms and comment with interest. Their energies are going up individually, but nothing seems to be combining. What foolishness are these Saiyans doing now? But soon enough, sight of Goku, Vegito, and Vegeta would be lost, as the energies would converge to create a gigantic ball in the sky, reminiscent of a spirit bomb, spewing large, powerful bolts of thunder and lightning all over the battlefield, as the priest would just stare at it head on. Oh, so now it begins. Whoa! What is this? As now, both being lost in the pure light, the illustrious luminescence of the three Saiyans' power, both the Grand Priest and the Omni King would be sat watching the blinding lights with an air of awe. Eventually, the light would become too powerful for even the Father of all angels, as protecting himself from the rays, he would be forced to close his eyes momentarily, eventually opening them slowly, squinted as the light would fade, with the fusion seemingly coming to an end before... What? Suddenly, there would be no option for the priest but to burst open his eyes, as a wave of shock and confusion would run all through his body, concerning what he was even looking at. As with his whole body in view now, stunned into place, he would just mutter, "You! What have you just done? This is your new form? Your fusion?" As slowly, we would then get a better look, starting with a look at Vegito from behind his head, his bulky, well-formed torso, his white-gloved hand, his blue, perfectly fitted gi, his Saiyan boots, and then finally, his closed eyes face. Something curious would be observed over this final transformation of Vegito. A familiarity that would be utterly unexpected.
Oh my god.
Suddenly,
Oh, there's the
final
green.
form
There's
of
the green that's in the
Vegito
one.
would be revealed, coming full circle back to his true self. His hair inexplicably black as if in base, but his eyes now not only displaying seraphim, but green in
I love how you
color.
say Yosha
As
instead of
bolts
alright. He's
of
been speaking
never
English
before
this whole
seen
time and I used to
green
speak Japanese.
energy surrounds him in all directions. With no darkness visible anywhere, it seems Ultra Vegito has gained an all-new level of strength and control, beating back anything and everything to do with Lucid, to now possess a far greater power as a mortal and most importantly, as a Saiyan.
Now this feels familiar.
As Vegito, gripping his perfectly clean fist tightly in front of his face, would then reflect on his new power with a smirk.
It's been a while since I felt this whole, this power. Maybe those two were right after all. I've never felt a greater boost in energy, Lucid included. I guess we'll just have to see. Hey boys?
Wow! Vegito! While Zeno, now finally having his wish from way back at the very start of the battle, would now see the green final form of Vegito that he had been waiting for so impatiently, as he would let out with an air of almost respect now. You weren't lying to me. Your eyes, that energy, it's green. You look cooler than Dai now. I wonder who will win. Thank you for not disappointing me. This is the most fun I've had in a long time.
No problem. I'm disappointed you would even doubt me, Zen-chan.
But Vegito, talking back to the gods, would now appear extremely cool, calm and collected. A quiet confidence exuding from his relaxed face as he would continue.
If there's one thing I am, it's a Saiyan of my word. And I've been saying for a long time that I would put an end to you two. So savor this green you've waited for, while you still can.
But Dai, despite the new appearance and cockiness, would look wholly unimpressed, as with his eyes almost squinted, he would comment, "What exactly is there to savor here? All those dramatic transformations from earlier, all this big talk of your power once fused, and once done, you look like any ordinary dark-haired Saiyan from your universe. Are you sure you're any stronger god killer? Because right now, it seems you aren't taking this serious enough." But Vegito, who would just continue to smile, cracking his neck to the side, as he would explain,
Don't worry about my appearance. Consider all those previous transformations just for show. Obsolete in the face of how I naturally look. In fact, you could call this my mastered form. Mastered Vegito, you could say. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Enough! Master your untimely fate first, mortal. Prepare yourself! I have waited for this moment, so do not let me down. As Dai would instantly then crouch down into an all-new fighting position, his muscles tensed and locked, ready to spring forward at unmatched speed. While the equally prepared Godkiller, with his vibrant emerald green seraphim eyes, would just remain composed, just slightly moving his position to ready himself as he would reply, "By all means, come and get it. I'll need a few minutes to get used to this form once again anyway. Try not to die too soon. Die!" And with that said, the Grand Priest would then eagerly rush into the Godkiller, hungry for the chance to see just how powerful the legendary completed Vegito truly is. As Vegito would remain in stance, smirking, enjoying the occasion. And on initial impact, the corrupted angel would land immediately on the forearm of the Saiyan as he raises it to block. And on the angel's face, not an ounce of emotion would be shown, as he would mutter, "Well, I see some improvements have been made at least. I can feel already this will not be as simple as I had imagined." While the grinning Vegito, pleased with this compliment, would reply, "Good, I'm glad. I wouldn't want to disappoint you. Just keep that brave face on when you finally see what I've been hiding." But just this lone collision by itself would cause a wave of devastation to explode everywhere, as their sheer power, even using fractions of their strength, would travel and be felt far and wide. And with nobody left on the battlefield now, there would be no need to worry for what destruction would be caused. Wow! More! Nobody else except, of course, for the acclaimed, all-powerful Omni King, who would absolutely be reveling in the light show and explosions, as his eyes grow wider than ever before in excitement for the final act. The collision eventually leaving the two warriors to then step back for distance, both undamaged and both with a smile, before Vegito would then eventually begin to land, looking up at the sky to the priest and saying, "Come on then, let's take this battle to the ground for once. I'm kind of tired of flying around. You can have a better look at me up close too. That is, if you're not afraid, Mr. Grand Priest." And with an ominous giggle, the one true angel would oblige, landing on the ground before fearlessly walking towards the Godkiller. And just like that, the two Goliaths of the multiverse would stand before each other, their eyes locked, and curiously, each maintaining a smile as if they are finally satisfied with their opponent, with the taller Grand Priest looking down and saying, "Well, have I quelled your doubts about being afraid? Tell me, how does it feel to finally not be under the control
of my elder brother. To not have to rely on demonic powers not meant for this realm. As I told you, it would make no difference even if you did. The outcome would be the same. But I can only imagine your Saiyan pride must be at its greatest to fight me now as just yourself. To which Vegito would just reply,
To be honest, it makes no difference to me. I did what I had to do to make it here. And regardless of how you justify it with your stories of fallen angels, you are using your elder brother's power just as I once did. You are no different to me, or at least the old me. I have evolved, and that is why I will leave you in the dust. The reign of gods ends here.
And with that said, Vegito would then cock back his fist with a beaming smile before... Powerful mortal. As Dai, smirking back as if the God Killer's smile was infectious, would dodge but comment on the strength he would feel from the wind rushing past his face alone. But on counterattack, with a slashing kick of his own, the Saiyan would duck straight underneath. Before, with his eyes looking up, he would goad.
Alright, can we pick this up a bit now? This is all a little too friendly.
And with the two still planted on the ground, they would clash fists all across the battlefield floor, still with smiles visible until... Finally, two back-to-back blows would land harshly. A fist on the God Killer's face, and a kick under the chin of the father of all angels. And once the scene would zoom out, it would soon become clear and apparent that both strikes actually would happen simultaneously, with Vegito falling back onto his hand and instantly raising his leg for the counter. But this flailing appendage wouldn't last for too long, before Dai would grab tightly and toss the God Killer straight into the sky. New form, same old mistakes, God Killer. Before Dai would cock back his own fist, but this time he would seemingly not be using it to punch. As suddenly, taking his chance, the angel would fire off a blast of energy that covers Vegito's body entirely. And for the first time, it would seem Vegito would feel some genuine discomfort, before he would then land on the ground and... Tut tut! With a bigger grin than ever before, he would say,
I could recognize that energy anywhere. You're already using Lucif's energy, even in this warm-up, huh? Cheater!
Before, without warning, Vegito, as if not satisfied with his now slightly charred clothing, would then instantly rip his top off, while saying,
Much better. Now that I see you're done with the warm-up, it seems, allow me to pick things up.
Immediately throwing to the ground his clothes for a surprisingly loud crash and cloud of destruction that follows, as if this new Vegito had been operating with weighted clothing, much like a certain Piccolo.
It's time!
As with a slight change in his body composition, as if Vegito's body would begin to boil and create so much heat, steam would let off, the God Killer would enter a new fighting stance, his muscles bulked and tense to the limit, as an eager teeth-bearing grin would form on his face.
I need to get you back!
As in a flash, Vegito would appear directly in front of the priest, with his right arm pulled right across his body, as if about to backhand the divine angel. Swiping his arm for a full swing, sending a torrent of wind along with it, as Dai would skillfully dodge to his right, his Seraphim abilities not falling for such a telegraphed attack. And as Dai would swerve away, he would laugh, saying, "So this is your idea of picking things up? How curious, since you seem to be even slower than before."
Okay, big shot. Then I'll just go even further!
As Vegito would then speed up forward, visibly before... Too late, God Killer! Before an impatient Grand Priest, not willing to just stand idly by and let the Saiyan have his way, would then unleash yet another point-blank blast, surrounding Vegito's figure instantly once more.
What?
But it would seem what would be caught in the blast would actually be an after image, and the real Vegito would instead be seen shooting out from the side, untouched and much to the angel's surprise. And with a cocky laugh, the God Killer would comment,
You must really think I'm stupid to think I'd fall for the same attack twice. When I say I'll step up the speed, I mean it.
just leaving the priest bamboozled as he remains cautious over the fused Saiyan's next move. And he would be right to do so, as Vegito's next move would be to unload a roundhouse kick straight for Dai's head, which he would once again dodge by the skin of his teeth, ultimately leaving the God Killer open for a counter. But what it would be yet to be revealed.
Huh? Whoa!
And possibly the most unexpected of attacks, especially from Dai, the angel would launch a devastating punch that actually lands, but on the most sensitive of areas.
Oh my gosh.
As with a high-pitched squeal,
Yo, bro, what is this, bro? One Punch Man, bro?
Have the same weakness
Android 13
as all
rematch,
other
bro? Like,
mortal men,
what's happening?
as his pupils would immediately disappear on impact. Sorry, but I honestly expected you to dodge. Where's that speed of yours now, God Killer?
You're more than a cheater now! You're foul!
As with a comedic shift in tone,
gosh.
Vegito would angrily then step back, grabbing onto his crown jewels, scolding the divine entity. As Dai would just reply, "Oh, come on, Saiyan. what is that saying you have in Universe 7? All's fair in love and war?
Fine, play it that way.
As quickly recovering, Vegito would drop down to stretch as Dai would watch on.
Don't worry, I can play dirty too, Dai!
Before, with a dastardly smirk staring back, Vegito would appear confident in his next move, catching the Grand Priest equally off guard. As out of nowhere, the God Killer would suddenly transform into his OG original Ultra Vegito form. Purple and silver hair and
time since I've seen
as
this.
lightning spreads all around him. What is he doing? Perplexing the priest as he would stare at what is truly a ghost of the past, wondering why Vegito would seemingly choose to get weaker until...
Don't lose your concentration now, Angel! I've got a present for you!
As generating instantly in the palm of his hand, a Godslayer scythe would appear courtesy of Vegito and of course, Goku Black. As launching a vicious blade in hand, like a skilled samurai, Vegito would slice right past the priest as if he had phased through him, shocking the angel in the process.
I told you I would surprise you. Tell me, what did I slice up just now?
As stopping mere feet behind the one true angel, the God Killer would come to a halt and watch as the body of Dai would curiously just remain frozen still, as if about to drop to his knees, dead in a cliché scene.
Die!
And in the process, even transform back to his green Seraphim completed Vegito form, as if the OG transformation was just merely a visual change. As turning his body fully to look back at Dai, he would then begin.
Not going to say anything? Don't tell me I won already. That wouldn't be much. What?
But soon, only shock would be experienced by the God Killer as before his eyes, in a poof of white smoke, the angel would disappear from existence, leaving the God Killer to yell,
Another clone? Damn you! Huh?
But as Vegito's annoyance would increase, he wouldn't have long before he would sense more danger on the way. As flying rapidly from the side would be Dai, his elbow already in place to strike unexpectedly. But just as he would get close, a hand would stop the blackened arm of the corrupted angel, and mysteriously, it would definitely not be Vegito's. Clawed and white in color, as if just energy.
What? You!
As Dai, opening his eyes wide, would seemingly recognize the individual instantly and be completely taken aback by who it is.
Beerus!
Wait, what?
As not only would Beerus reappear as Vegito's signature apparition, Belmod and Vados too would also be present, each rushing towards Dai, as Vegito yet again transforms into another form from the past, as he would comment,
Hope you don't mind. I thought this party could use a few more people. Vile creature!
triggering the angel in that instant as he would make preparations to escape. And as Vados and Belmod would come crashing down and create a wave of destruction, the aforementioned escape would prove successful. As skidding across the ground by his hands and feet elsewhere, Dai would reappear. Of all the apparitions to bring out against me, why 3 of the weakest? Surely, you can do better than that, God Killer! GT!
Oh shoot, oh
But
shoot.
as if the saying,
no.
be careful what you wish for, had come alive, Dai's questioning of Vegito's tactics would soon be answered. As his very own student, the second strongest angel in the entire multiverse, GT, would then appear right behind him, with the Royal Commander now gripping tightly onto the body of the priest, powered up by his own Seraphim energy, leaving Dai to do nothing else but squirm and look deep into the dead eyes of his lost friend.
You should really learn to talk less. It will only bring about your downfall.
As Vegito, laughing maniacally at the situation, would then lift up his arm, pointing towards the duo and yell,
Now go! Finish this clown!
as instantly, the 2 gods of destruction and the angel attendant, on command of the God Killer, would then fly straight forward towards the vulnerable priest.
How ungodly! A mortal using gods like this!
But just the sight of the situation alone would now be enough to send Dai over the edge, as with his fury building, a pressure would unleash from every pore of his skin, while veins would begin to bulge. Meanwhile, the energy apparitions would get closer and closer to their target until ultimately...
Rest in peace, my fellow gods!
Unleashing an almighty power-up, Dai's face itself would stretch longitudinally as his mouth opens to all new heights from his yell alone. And instantly, not only him, but all of the other gods surrounding and behind him would be lost in his power too, each with a shocked face. And the result would be a massive aura of energy now encapsulating Dai, erasing all those around him, including the 4 gods, causing wind and destruction to flow everywhere.
There's that elusive energy again!
Eventually affecting even the God Killer in the distance, who, annoyed, sensing the power of the devil once more, would grit his teeth before...
I guess if you need something done right, it's better to do it yourself!
Just as the smoke would rise in the aftermath of Dai's explosive power, without fear, Vegito would jump straight forward.
There you are!
Eventually getting close enough, the dark silhouette of a figure would finally now be present, and with it only possible to be one god in particular. And of course, Dai would then eventually be seen, unfazed but still covered in veins, as looking at Vegito, unmoving, he would briefly say, "You will pay dearly for such disrespect to the gods, Saiyan! Just you wait and see!" And with perfect technique and speed, as Vegito would come double-fisted, slashing down, the priest
Yeah, this is not
would
looking
simply
good. I mean,
slide
Vegito
to
really
his
hasn't
right.
done much, has he? Right?
What? Are you running away?
Before inexplicably, Dai would then just opt to fly straight up, looking behind and simply letting out, "Follow me, mortal. The battle on the ground is over." Within moments, shooting far and high into the sky, leaving Vegito literally in his dust.
Who said you get to call the shots?
Annoying the God Killer briefly, with his green seraphim eyes beginning to glow suspiciously before following suit, and with really no other option on the table, Vegito would explode into the sky in chase.
Don't go too far now!
Oh yeah, I remember this form.
As mid-flight,
I think this is my
undergo
favorite form
yet
from him.
another transformation of old. Now with his Super Saiyan 4 inspired demon form, with a tail
Super Saiyan 4 demon form.
chasing at
This
full
one's my
speed
favorite. 100%.
towards the angel. His speed is the same, even in these forms. Surprising Dai, within literally nanoseconds, the God Killer would have kept up, despite the older form, signaling once more that these transformations seem to be nothing more than just for show.
What? You don't think I can have a little fun while we play Angel? One form is boring!
As Vegito, with a crazed smile, would begin pulling back his open-handed left arm until instantly he would
Oh,
fire
whoa,
out his
that's the
cell
cell
tail,
tail, whoa.
given to him ages ago by Dr. Gero himself. But despite the point-blank attempt and sheer speed, in an incredible acrobatic feat, Dai would spin his body mid-air and dodge the tail's path entirely.
Not bad!
And with his dodge complete, without a moment to spare, the angel would move swiftly in to counter with a punch, while Vegito, who now had changed back to his completed green seraphim form, would struggle to reel back his cell tail in time. But with a quick snap in place, the long appendage would return and ultimately...
What?
just in the nick of time to block Dai's punch, as it seems, with his increased speed in this new form, it would apply to everything. Leaving the impact of the block to send both warriors backwards for space. But unbeknownst to Vegito, as he would look in one direction, Dai, with unbelievable speed and lack of presence, would be running right behind the Saiyan before... As with a forceful knee, the corrupted angel would slam right into the stomach of the base-looking Vegito, leaving the God Killer to cough out as he becomes winded.
Mine!
But Dai's attack would not end there, as quickly remembering how much of Lucif's energy is still there to take within Vegito, he would then grab onto the loose arm of the God Killer, his veins bulging from how clamped the grip would be.
What?
And before long, with his arm surrounded in aura, absorption would seemingly begin taking place, just like it did with Vegeta. But as this would take place, the two would remain still, an eerie silence as Vegito himself would appear to not struggle or fight back in any way. And soon, something shocking would come to the corrupted angel's realization, as he would comment, "What is this? Nothing is coming out! Where is Lucif's energy?" But with his face now looking sinisterly smug, as if a shadow had descended on him, Vegito would reveal,
That's because unlike you, I'm not using any of Lucif's power right now. But if you're so thirsty, I can give you a taste.
as immediately Vegito would then transform entirely into his true demon form. A sight we had not seen in countless chapters now.
I think this is
power
just
of
fan
Lucif
service. Him just
finally
transforming a
begins
lot.
to surface
I'll take it.
visibly
I'll take
in
it.
the vicious black lightning that would now surround him, leaving Dai stunned as he wonders what trick the God Killer would pull out now in his progression through his forms.
What?
And what would follow is Vegito immediately powering up a dark ball of pure demonic energy, as Dai below looks on perplexed until...
You're not yourself when you're hungry!
as Vegito would follow through and toss down his energy attack at full force right down onto the face of Dai. You fool! Have you forgot my abilities already? As the corrupted angel, who could not look any happier, as if he had just been treated to a feast after days of not eating, would salivate with a massive smile as he just patiently waits for the demonic energy to fall into his vicinity. Mine! All mine! As now, with a raucous, gritted face, Dai's forehead diamond, just like before, would begin absorbing all of the demonic energy within the ball. Slowly but surely, the ball of energy before him would then shrink and shrink as a result. And as we see from the side, seep deep into his skull, Dai would then just maniacally shout, I don't know what you're doing, mortal, but keep it up! Maybe you do agree. That power all belongs to me! While Vegito, just confidently sniggering with a smirk, would watch on and just continue,
Yes, yes. Eat up. You're going to need all you can get. Consider it an appetizer, as I'm about to bring out the main course.
As immediately, Vegito would then inexplicably hold out his hand in front with his fingers in a strange position before, with a snap of his fingers, something strange would begin to be felt by the corrupted angel, as the energy ball would begin to light up. As in a violent explosion, the last of the energy ball would explode straight on the face of the priest. It appears Vegito's snap was actually a detonator.
You dirty beast!
Leaving Dai to now groan in agony as his face continues to smoke away from its harsh singeing.
Dirty? You're the one covered in soot, Dai!
As quietly, while goading
He's
the
gonna grab
angel,
the demon blade.
Vegito would then cautiously grasp onto his right horn.
Yeah! Time to end this!
As pulling out yet another technique of old, Vegito would pull straight out of his skull a fully fledged demon blade, sharper than ever and ready to slice the occupied angel into pieces. But as Vegito would shoot forward, blade in hand, it wouldn't appear to be in a slicing motion, but instead pinpoint aimed for a very specific spot. And even with his sight completely compromised, the angel would notice the God Killer's approach. But unfortunately, with Vegito's speed, it would be too little too
So he
late.
stabbed him in the
As the
diamond on his
demon's
chest.
blade
Okay.
would then pierce straight through the chest of Dai. And not only that, but perfectly through the red glowing diamond on his chest also. Sliding through like a knife through water, almost the entire blade eventually would make its way through. And soon enough, the pain would set in like a house on fire. Dai's eyes bursting wide open from sheer disbelief that he had been wounded so grievously by the same, muttering,
You? What have you?
Before in a vicious response, the bewildered, corrupted angel would slam his leg straight at Vegito, as if swatting away a fly.
What have you done?
But the extent of this damage would
Yeah, that
seemingly
went
be
right
huge,
through him. Okay.
as Dai, now angrier than ever before, would become completely overcome, with veins as his blood boils, gripping tightly onto the handle of the blade before he would suddenly shoot far up into the sky. But whether to run away or some other nefarious deed would still yet to be seen. I have been too lenient, underestimating myself too much. As Dai, now mid-flight, would talk to himself, before when we zoom in on his face, he would grip again onto the blade's handle and continue. I don't need any more of Lucif's energy. I have enough, along with mine, to finish such a creature. I am done pretending otherwise. As without warning, the corrupted
that just
angel
sound
would then pull
disgusting,
out the
dude.
demonic blade from his own chest.
Oh my
as his left arm now, previously still an angelic white, would now instantly begin becoming polluted to pure black before... Now, both completed seraphim eyes of Dai would now go red, as he gives in almost completely to the demonic powers of his elder brother.
Die! You must die now!
Until finally, in the final act of this battle, the Grand Priest, father of all angels, now looking nothing like his past self, would appear high in the sky, a twin of Lucifer, with his bulked up body and red and black demonic features. His flowing hair would stand on end, as losing his mind, the once pure divine creature would form a powerful concentrated ball of black energy, more powerful than ever seen before, as almost like a spirit bomb, evil energy from all over would seem to begin seeping directly into it, making it larger and more powerful by the second, as all the while, Dai, with a crazed look, would only say,
"Your story ends here!"
And as the truly frightening and gigantic ball of energy would perpetually release energy, thunder, lightning, wind, pressure, and everything else you could think of in all directions, destroying the very realm of Xenos to nothingness, alone on the ground, Vegito would be watching.
Well, looks like this is it, boys.
But perhaps just not alone in mind, as with Goku and Vegeta too now eagerly looking on, Goku would comment, "All this time, everything we've done, everything we've seen, I can tell it was all for this moment. His power, it's incredible." While Vegeta would say,
It's incredible, all right, but this isn't a situation we haven't been in before. There's no point looking back now. We're here, and we will do this for everyone.
That's my goat. That's my goat Vegeta right there, bro. Don't sleep on Vegeta. Don't
having
sleep
the
on.
last word, would just reply,
You two are the ones who convinced me that we could do this without Lucifer, with just our power. So let's prove that right. Let's show these gods one final time why us mortals are not to be looked down upon. Final
as with all three
That looks
Saiyans
crazy,
now
dude.
ready
That's
to
a nice
change
shot right
their
there, bro.
destiny, to finish the gods forever, to bring everyone back. Seraphim Goku, Destroyer Seraphim Vegeta, and completed Vegito would each power up their final attacks. Vegeta with his final flash, Goku with his Kamehameha, and the God Killer with his final Kamehameha. Screaming at the top of their lungs, they would input every little bit of energy into themselves until... 3 Saiyans of legend would submit their final attacks. Die versus Universe 7's greatest. Who wins? Find out on the next exciting episode
Oh
of
my
UV.
Guys, dude, that was a good episode, bro. What, dude? What? Dude, that was a good episode, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. That was a great episode. Damn. Wow. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I mean, I think that went a solid 9.5, right? Like, that was crazy, bro. That was crazy. You know, maybe in the comments, maybe I'll bump it up to a 10 once we see this next episode, because I'm thinking the next episode is probably gonna be the 10, honestly. But just for right now, let's just say 9.5 for right now. Dude, that was great. I like the fan service, the other forms that we saw. Vegito's, like, I don't know, mastered form. I think it's solid. Like, it's definitely, like, it's not. I would say it's not as cool, but it's still, like, it still works, right? Final Kamehameha is a good ender, a good clash, you know, clash ender, right? Grand Priest is definitely going AWOL, but you know, we're just gonna have to see what happens in the next episode. So, enough talk. Let's get straight to it. Let's see how all this ends, man. Let's go.